Well, that way we can get going here.
All right, recording has started.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Well, we're here for our little webinar for our EPISD Student Digital Film Festival. We appreciate everyone who's been able to make it. As people join and kind of leave, I'm sure you'll be able to share information throughout your campus, because I'm sure this will be not the only time we'll get questions. So let me go ahead and kind of get started with our presentation. So we're going to just basically start with what is storytelling and then kind of go through, because I know we have several people who may be new to this, and also to be able to tell your kids what is going to be a good product and what is not. A statement by the National Storytelling Network defines storytelling as an ancient art form and a valuable form of human expression. Because story is essential to so many art forms, however, the word storytelling is often used in many ways. It can be shown in movement, sound, talking, using images, or it can be written. This is what you're going to see in our films for our film fest throughout. You're going to see all kinds of different genres and the way it's done. Just the way the creativity of the kids come about is going to be a wonderful thing for us to see when we start watching all their films. So that's one thing we kind of want to talk about is don't necessarily tell them what they can't do, just try to guide them in what they can do. So that's one thing that we try to push here is to do that. Just remember, you can use any device, like it says here on this slide, smartphones, iPads, any type of other tablets, cameras, laptops, any other type of programs that are available. It's very easy to find stuff. On our website, we do have resources for you to kind of go through and see what might be usable for you and your kids. The next slide. What is the EPISD Digital Film Fest? It is a film fest that allows any student K through 12 in Region 19 to participate. So if you do know of or have your own children in private school or charter school or anything like that, they are more than welcome to also participate. We have had a few from private charter schools over the last couple of years, so we're more than welcome to please join, so please go ahead and do that. You'll notice the link at the bottom, the EPISD Film Festival YouTube channel. You can go ahead and click on that, and you're going to notice that you see every film from the past, I believe, 3 years on there, and so that way you can kind of get an idea of what is available and what kind of ideas some of the kids have. So that might be a great starting point for some of your kids or even yourself if you're new to this. Also on our Film Fest webpage, we do have a drop-down page that does have past winners. So we do have a list of past winners as well for the different age groups and also the different categories. So let's just kind of talk about some of the rules, and we're going to try to highlight some of the more important rules that we see, but we have to kind of use our judgment, and sometimes, unfortunately, we do have to disqualify certain films because they do not follow the rules, and one of them is the very first rule: films may not be longer than 3 minutes. That includes opening and credits. That means from the beginning to the end, it's 3 minutes. We've had to disqualify films because it was 3 minute, 1 second, 3 minute, 3 seconds. And so if we do it to one, it means we have to do it to them all. And so we just have to make sure that it's not any longer than 3 minutes. Students may not have any more than 3 entries. You're more than welcome, just like it says. They can work by themselves. They can work in groups. The most that we try to limit to is 4 students. I know sometimes we do have 5, which we kind of allow, but we're trying to only get about 4. Sometimes it just kind of gets a little too pervasive for the teacher and also the filmmakers. There's a little too much going on with so many people and things, so we try to limit it to about 4. But if you do have 5, we've kind of just give me an email, let me know. I can go ahead and we can discuss it and see if we can make that work, which most of the time we can. One of the last things, the last bullet that you see there, it says school-age students must be the primary script writers, videographers, artists, editors, producers of the film entry. And really and truly, we do go on an honesty basis. We would like the teacher and sponsors to help with all these aspects, but mostly as a guide, not necessarily to tell what's going to happen or to do the work.
Teachers, please check your mailboxes this afternoon.
Sorry about
or
this.
tomorrow
It's
morning for flyers that need to go to students.
good old school
the
announcements here.
Flyers need to be distributed to all students tomorrow during the first period. Thank you.
So as I was saying, we really want to guide our students when we do this necessarily, not guide them in a way where we're going to end up doing the work. We may have to set up areas, set up props, things like that. That may be something different than actually doing the work for the kids. And you'll be surprised what the kids really can do, especially some of you first-timers or some of the ones who have only maybe some kids who may be a little reluctant. Once they kind of let their imagination go and stuff, you're just trying to help guide them, and you'll see some really good products. The next one, films must include digital video, stop motion, and animation. In our rules, it does say what grade levels are allowed to do what. Slideshows are not allowed as you get past the kinder first grade. They need to start moving into the digital video, stop motion, or animation, and not just put images together to make a slideshow, as it says. We haven't really had a problem about the third bullet. All films must be suitable for viewing. There are some times where some kids try to throw in some maybe some questionable language, or they're leaning on the sides of being a little risque, let's say, kind of, sort of. Yeah, and also with the music and things like that. So we want to make sure that we keep them in a nice, like your family audience is a very, if you can take your kids to see it, that's going to be a wonderful film. They'll enjoy it. But if you can't even take your own kids, you probably need to tell your group they need to think of something else. This next bullet is really big about disqualifying. Students must follow copyright rules. Proper permission and citation is one of the biggest things that we have to deal with all the time, and really and truly it's the lack of citation in the film credits. Sometimes it's a great film, the kids have put a lot of work in, they use some music, they use images, they use this, they use that, and there's no credits. So that's one thing as a sponsor / teacher, librarian, whomever it may be who's guiding the group. You need to also discuss, if all else fails and you're not sure, cite it. If you're not sure, cite it. If you're not sure, cite it. That is one of the things that we always tell all our filmmakers is make sure you give proper credits at the end of your films. I mean, never can go wrong with citing something at the very end of your film. And the last bullet says all films created in language other than English should contain English subtitles. That would be wonderful if we can get some more Spanish films, or even if now we're starting, we got a bunch of from Middle East coming into El Paso, Japan. I know we have some Chinese students. It'd be great if we can get some of those students to also participate. That would be wonderful to see in their own languages, and then put it as a subtitle so we can see what's going on. That would be great.
Drop on their own cultural heritage.
Exactly. So that way we can kind of learn from them as much as they learn from us. As I was saying, with the exception of the K through second grade films, picture slideshows do not tell a story and are rendered as films will be disqualified. So only K through second will be allowed to do the slideshow. Everything else must be videotaping, things of this. That does not mean you can't put images in your film. It just means you can't only use one image after another, after another, after another type of thing. That will be disqualified. Like we talked about, the inappropriate pieces, anything over 3 minutes will be disqualified, and all that. So those are the main things. That's why we put these slides in again a second time, is to reiterate those are two of the biggest things that we see year in and year out that we have to disqualify films for. Here are some important dates coming up, and some of you are probably tired of seeing my name on the Zimbra email list. Other people during the summertime when I do other summer training, I always get, hey, so you're John Roach. You're the one who just kept sending email for this film fest. Well, I send so many because we have so many teachers in our district Not all of us check email every single day or every other day, so to make sure we have plenty of information out for all our teachers, our librarians, other sponsors, is why I do it so much. So just to let yourself and also some of your other teachers who may be interested, is this first link, the tinyurl.com/EPISD Film Festival. That is our interest form. We need to make sure that we fill that out before March 10th. The reason I do that is to create a contact list and also to kind of get an idea of how many films we might be looking at. So currently we probably have about 65-ish different teachers already signed up with the various number of films. So we want to make sure we get that link out so we can see if you're interested in participating or not. The next date is Friday, April 24th. That will be when all your paperwork is due, and we'll also get your films uploaded as well. Once March 10th and spring break finishes up, those people who have signed up on the participation form, you'll start receiving emails about what packets and what forms to fill out. So don't be afraid if you haven't done this before. All the information and all the needed forms, rules will all be sent to you. Currently, we do have all the forms and all the rules on our website, which we'll get to here in just a second. And so anything that you need is on that website. So if you want to get a head start on reading the rules and also getting yourself to fill out paperwork and also your students, please feel free. So that way you have them in plenty of time, because I know every other year we also have a lot of kids who get it in the last minute. So getting a head start on it is wonderful. Truthfully, it takes a lot less time to chase them down on our end. And last but not least, our Digital Film Festival Awards will be Friday, May 19th, 6 to 8-ish. It will start at 6 o'clock. It's going to be at Bowie High School auditorium. And the reason we picked Bowie is because it is a very, very friendly campus to us with a lot of large seating and wonderful space to do everything the kids need to make this a successful event for them. We appreciate all that Bowie does for us. And that's one of the reasons that we use Bowie. Is it's a great facility. It's pretty much centrally located for the west and northeast to kind of go and meet. We're going to go ahead and again, Stephanie Vai has gone ahead and reserved that night for us, so we're going to go ahead and have her once again be our MC. It's going to be wonderful to have her again. We're going to have some other things kind of for the kids that may be a little bit different than last year, so we're going to kind of keep that under wraps until the night of. It was very fun last year. The kids had a great time. We had a great time. I'm really looking forward to May 19th again. Here are some more just kind of recommendations that we have. Just to remember the 3-minute time limits. Keep an eye out for the copyright. So this is the third time that you've heard this, because this ends up being the 2 that we always have to disqualify people on. If the entire campus is participating, it is recommended that you host a campus film festival and submit your winner per grade level or campus. And the reason we say that is because a campus that has 3 or 4 entries, that's not what we're talking about. Some campuses really have made this more of maybe a grade level thing. So let's say all of 4th grade at XYZ Elementary is gonna do that. Well, they've decided that's going to be about 45 films with all the different kids. Turning in 45 films to us to look at and then turn around and try to figure out a winner plus all the rest of the films that will be entered, I think that might be a little too many per grade level or per campus. And that's what we mean by maybe having a campus film festival, then turning around and submitting your better films from your either grade level or campus. So please take in mind about that aspect. Kind of get with your grade level or your campus, and more than welcome to turn in as many as you want, but just we want to try to make this as easy on everybody as possible. And if you don't think the kids are ready to submit it, then don't submit it. That's the best I can say. We want to try to go ahead and give everyone a fair chance and a fair shot. But if we have 50 films from one campus, that may be a little too many from one particular campus. So just keep that in mind. Here are some of the winners that we had last year. So we're going to go through some of the categories, talk about the categories, and then these are the actual winners from last year. So animation, claymation, just like it says here, these videos use a stop motion or cartoon, animation, claymation, anything like that, stop motion photography. And like I said, you can click on the links, but all these are on our YouTube Film Fest page, so you can go and look at everything, not just the winners. Let's see. Out of these, I like the Light Conquers Dark the most. That's just my personal opinion. I think that one kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking for. They're all good. I mean, they didn't win for nothing, but I'm just saying I have my own personal favorites in each of the categories, so that's just me. The next one, PSA, commercial and newscasts, just like it says, these are commercials, public service announcements, news videos. This particular category is very popular amongst the kids. I mean, especially a lot of them love to do the newscasting. It's a wonderful way to do the green screen. A lot of the PSAs are very good. They give the kids a great opportunity to put out a good message. And the thoughts are excellent. The commercials are fun to watch. Like I said, this particular category really lends itself to a lot of green screen action. So far out of all the categories, this one I've seen the best green screens from. In this particular one, I have a little passion on this one, is the 3 through 5 Battles. We won't say why, but let's just say I enjoyed that one of that category the best. But please take your time and go through it. One thing I do suggest for each of these categories is that you kind of maybe sit down with your kids that are participating and kind of show them what is a PSA commercial newscast look like. What does a good one look like from beginning to end? And do that with all the categories. Sit down with them, show them what one looks like, especially the winners. Well, this one won because, and then you can kind of sit down and explain what's good, bad, or indifferent, or what you think may work or not work for your particular participant. The next one is digital story and documentary. This is probably the largest category we have because most of it fits into a digital story. And just like it says that it's a non-fictional story, document aspects of reality primarily for the purposes of instruction or maintaining a historical record. Fictional narrative film story can include comedies, drama, action, mystery, and other fictional genres. This one basically can include many aspects. That's why we end up getting the most out of any of the categories as digital story, because it is a story. Anything that you want to tell, you can kind of fit it in. So this one will probably have the most entries out of all the categories again. This one I liked the Super Steve, but I also liked Anxiety. I thought Anxiety was an excellent film. So those two are excellent to watch if you want to see some good filmmaking and some good effects. They did a wonderful job, both of the urban and Ross middle schools. Our next one is the movie and book trailer. I like this personally because I think it gives some of the beginners a good way to kind of get into filmmaking. It does not take a lot to do a movie book trailer, and for movie book trailer, most of these are used in iMovie, the trailer feature in iMovie. It's very simple to do. You just have to kind of film some stuff, very short clips, puts it all together, tells a story. The kids can really do a very simplistic thing and kind of get their filmmaking skills in order. I think you're going to like any of these that you watch. I liked the Strike for Success. That was a good one. He put a lot of effort into that. The rest of them are good as well. Through Your Eyes is an excellent one by Canyon Hills as well. But a lot of these are maybe beginner type things that are easy for your kids to do, but still do a really good job at what they're doing. And so our next one is a brand new category. And this one's going to be for secondary only because we're going to just use them as a pilot. We want to see how this goes, is the music video category. The main thing that we're looking for here, just like it says, these are videos of musical groups of any kind that tell a story that are going to be original. not using someone else's music and then kind of just mixing the words up and calling it theirs. The music and the words all have to be original. But what we would like to see is any combination of the instruments or items that are used to make noise can be part of the video. You know, the dancing and using of props are allowed and encouraged. So just to see this in for our first year is going to be interesting. So yeah, I was going to say, you know, hopefully we do get quite a few of these. We do not have any examples. I mean, we could pull them off of YouTube from somebody else, but I mean of our own El Paso doing this. And this will be only secondary. This is only going to be 6 through 12 this year, and we want to see how it goes, just because more of a what's the word I'm looking here? They've had more time to practice, and they're probably a little bit more advanced in their musical skill, and then when they can kind of put the singing or the dancing together, and that way they have an easier idea of putting a story together using their musical talent. And we want to try this with the 6 through 12 and see how it goes. But I know I'm excited to see what we get. I know I've already had several questions about this. So I know we already have a lot of the high schools already ready, and I'm expecting about a dozen at least music videos turned in. So I'm interested to see. It should be very good to watch and see. And these are our awards. So every category at every age group will go ahead and receive an award, just like it says here, K through 2, 3 through 5, 6 through 8, 9 through 12. And there will also be one elementary best of show, K through 5. It could be any category. And also best of show, secondary, 6 through 12. There again, any category. But there's only going to be one best of show elementary and only one best of show secondary. So and the way it works at the Film Fest is we don't give first, second, third, fourth place away. It's just like it would be like you see on TV. It's just the winners only. So we'll see a montage of film clips. So basically everybody's film, a clip or two will be shown, but then the only one that will be shown from beginning to end will be the winners. So they will receive an award. Let me see if this next slide says it or not. Not yet. So let me go back one slide. So just to let you know, for this first year, TFCU has agreed, and we're very gracious, to give the best of show for secondary. They're gonna, and this is just to the film, not for each kid, just the film, is they're gonna get $100 best of show award. That's the way it's going to work for TFCU. It is not going to be $100 per participant of that film. It's just going to be film XYZ gets $100. So if you have 2 people on the film, they're going to go ahead and either split it 50-50 or whatever they decide. If there's 4 people in the film, they can split the money 4 ways, but it's just going to be the $100 per film. So we're going to try and see if that will spur on some more competitive type of films and see if we can really try to draw some more people. The elementary, what we're going to do for them is we're not giving them quote-unquote a money prize like that, but what we're going to do is we're going to come up with gifts that will total that same amount. So the elementary will be getting their own best of show quote-unquote award, grand prize as well. It's just not going to be $100, but it'll be items that total up to $100. And I think that'll work out very, very well for everybody involved. So we're here on slide 15 here. Tools for creating films. And if you have other ones that are not listed on here, you're more than welcome to use it. You might want to remember that your alts have been given what they call a iPad caster. And I'm not sure if Jesus or Earl might be able to look that up and maybe put that image up of what an iPad caster looks like. Basically what that is an iPad with a whole bunch of filmmaking equipment with it, specifically, just like it says, specifically for filmmaking. That means it has a heavy-duty tripod. It has lenses that are capable of really getting clear shots. It has microphones. It has some other odds and ends that will be really helpful for you. So you might want to get with your ALS. And I see that Karen also said librarian, so that could be at some campuses as well. So that's one part that you might want to think about, is taking a look at it, seeing if that's something that you could use. I know one thing that I do suggest very strongly is that tripod. Keeping that camera still, and especially if you're outside and it gets windy, nothing worse than seeing an iPad that all it's doing is shaking up and down and left and right, and it looks like you're in a tornado of some sorts. So you might want to keep that in mind, is using your iPad caster from your campus. And I also want to let you know that as soon as we finalize our participation list, what we're going to do is I'm going to give out the names of the teachers to the particular campuses to our instructional technology specialists, and we will be following up with each and every one of you to see what you may or may not need necessarily, and kind of see where we can kind of help out to make the experience definitely more smooth, but also a more productive one for you. So maybe if you're needing some ideas or anything of that nature, your instructional technology specialists will be more than welcome to help you, and I know they're excited about doing that. On our website, our FilmFest website, we also have a drop-down page that if you're not sure who your instructional technology person is, there is a drop-down page on our website that says Contact ITS. So once you do that, it has a picture and a list of all the campuses of each and every one of the instructional technologists for El Paso ISD. So you can find who it is and contact them via email and schedule something. So as soon as we finish that, we'll definitely be getting a hold of you and trying to make sure you're on your way to a successful film fest. So these are just some programs and apps for your movie creation. Some of you may have others, and please share if you do. These are just a few. I mean, we probably could list about 25 to 50, but there again, these are all usable with your iMovie. You also have, with your iPads, you also have the iMovie on Macs, Windows Movie Maker on your PCs, and I believe if you don't have Movie Maker, I believe that it is available to download on your software center, things of that nature. So you do have some various options. I'm going to go back again, and your instructional technology specialists will be glad to work with you guys on any of this. I know TouchCast is a popular one. Coma is becoming more and more popular, and I know iMovie is always a fan favorite and easy to use. Some other ones that you see here you may not be familiar with, but you can go ahead and click on them, kind of read, play with them, see what's going to work or not work, and kind of go from there. I know when we came up with the dates, we tried to really stretch it out and go in between all the testing dates. So from March 10th to April 24th, we really tried to give you 6 to 7 weeks of just being able to make a film, skipping all the review sessions, trying to give you plenty of room after the testing as well. So we're hopefully that we'll have plenty of time to help you in whatever you need. One thing that we really did not, and it's my fault, did not do a very good job of is this particular slide, and try to list as many free sources as we could for our filmmakers and the sponsors to kind of help them. On our websites, we also have a drop-down that is a resource page that gives you a lot of resources like this, and also gives you some starting ideas and some ways to film and talk about lighting and just storyboards to kind of start the story for the kids. Anything that we could think of, we kind of put it all together. There's nothing better than free, and these right here are excellent. The YouTube Media Libraries is awesome. The SoundCloud. I'm going to let you know that GarageBand is now has a wonderful update over the last few weeks, and if you're thinking about getting into the music video, if you're into that secondary today, you can easily make your own music with all the different features that they've added. So, I mean, very, very simple to do, and you'll really, really like that if you kind of take a look at GarageBand. We do have a lot of issues with music in our particular films. The kids do not cite them. But to talk more about the copyright and things will be Earl here in just a little bit. But just a reminder, you can't just use a whole entire song. And I think some kids don't know that, or they try to fudge it. So that's one thing that we're also going to look at is the copyright on music. Some of the kids just let it play forever and ever and ever, and there is copyright laws and rules that they need to make sure to follow. So we'll go over that here in just a bit. But these are wonderful free resources. We're going to try to help out as much as possible. We're going to also, as you can see on this particular slide, we're doing Movie Making 101. The elementary has gotten together along with some of the secondary, and we're going to go ahead and offer these days and times and try to get not just everything on the northeast or just the south side, but we tried to pick a couple of places. And so we're going to do March 20th at Moy Elementary, 4:30 to 6, and March 23rd, Dr. Green, 4:30 to 6. And these are the apps that we're going to kind of touch over during the time frame. So if you're interested, you're more than welcome to come. You don't necessarily have to stay for the whole time, but if you're interested in something, please show up and we'll be glad to go over whatever you may need, especially if you're wanting to know more about one of these. We'll be glad to do this for you. If you're not able to make one of those dates, like I mentioned before, go ahead and contact your instructional technology specialist. They'll be happy to work with you. I know they'll be glad to schedule some time with your students and work with your students. I know that's one of my biggest pleasures is to see what the students are doing and just having a good time with them. And right here, so I've been talking about our Film Fest website. This is the link to our actual Film Fest, EPISD Digital Film Festival.weebly.com. And I did not introduce myself, but I'm sure my little icon said John Roach there, but I am John Roach, the voice of and the person you get a lot of emails from. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at any time. I try to stay on track and get back to you as quickly as I can. If you have any questions and your instructional technology person is there, grab them. They know just as much as I do. And if they don't know, they'll contact me and ask. So I appreciate it. This is your question time now. We've been trying to answer questions as they have been popping up, so I appreciate Earl and Jesus and Julie and Karen and whomever else may be. So I'll be glad to help out. So if we have any questions, feel free. Continue asking.
Hey, Earl, can you go ahead and give us a little talk on copyright?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Okay. All right. So the biggest copyright issue that we generally have with the film festival is related to the music. And as copyright states, fair use for what we're allowed to use from students is it falls under the category of 30 seconds or 10% of a given audio recording, whichever is less. So in most cases, that actually falls out to be the 10%. So the easiest way to check is to convert the runtime of whatever audio your students are going to have to seconds, and then 10% of that is what they're allowed. Now, if it's more than if 10% ends up being more than 30 seconds, then they're only allowed to use 30 seconds. So to give you an idea, 5 minutes is 300 seconds. So that's where that break line happens. So if the song is less than 5 minutes, they can only use 10%. So since all of our films are going to be 3 minutes or less, it's going to end up being that 10% rule. So students should generally use no more than 10% of a given audio track from an artist. And again, it still has to be cited. So whether or not they use 5 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever it may be, they still have to cite that in their work. So we do recommend that whatever they use music-wise, they give citation for. Even if it is in free and public use, you're still supposed to cite the use of that music. So my recommendation is, even if it's original music, your students should get credit for creating such original music. So as John said, cite, always cite if you have any consideration for that. The only other thing that might come up is images. students are allowed to use up to 5 images from any one collection of images. So if students are looking for images online, if there's an artist that they're using, if it's from a book that they're looking at, if they're looking at book covers or because they're going to do a book trailer, any of that kind of stuff, they can use up to 5 images from any one collection. So that's another copyright issue that might come up. Generally, those are the only 2 that we see with the film festival itself. We can also include links to some handouts on copyright rules on the website if that's something that people have any questions about. But in general, those are the 2 major issues with copyright that we run across is 10% or 30 seconds of a song, whichever is less, and up to 5 images from any one collection. Okay.
What if they use video?
I don't know if you have any other questions related to that. Feel free to post them if you do.
Earl, what if they use video?
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Okay.
If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Feel free to ask. I mean, I pretty much covered the elements there of copyright as far as the 10% or 30 seconds, and then 5 images from any one collection. Okay, so the question is, if students do their own rendition of a story, for example, The Little Red Hen, should we cite the original story? I would, just to make sure that the students know where the original story comes from. Most of these older stories, especially things like The Little Red Hen, are in the public domain now. Some newer ones are not. But just for the sake of making sure students understand that since you're making use of someone else's work, it's always a good habit to be in to have them cite that. So I would definitely cite the original author of the story, just so that they, inspired by The Little Red Hen by, I don't know the author offhand, but I would definitely do that. Just, that way everyone is covered, and that also reinforces how important it is to students, because they wouldn't want anyone using their work without giving credit. Likewise, we don't want to do the same. Oh, okay, there was a question using video clip and copyright. All right, the rules for video is very similar to the rules for audio. It's 3 minutes or 10% of a given video, whatever is less. But again, I think as Karen mentioned, we're not really doing mashup videos. So depending upon how students utilize the video within their story, it may or may not fall outside the bounds of what we're allowing within the film festival. But as long as the majority of the work is their own, if it's only a quick little clip because they're, citing a commercial or something like that as an example, then that could be fine. But it's 3 minutes or 10%, whichever is less, given the length of whatever the original film was. Oh, as Julie said, it may be something they include in a documentary, which is absolutely true. So yeah, if that's the case, the rule is 3 minutes or 10%, whichever is less, given the full length of whatever the video was. And again, it does need to be cited. Any other questions? Well, this year's theme is storytelling, so anything that falls within the auspices of storytelling would be fine. So, like you had mentioned a little while ago, retelling of a story would be fine. You can do a retelling. It could be an original story that the students might create. It could be anything where there is, a beginning, middle, end is essentially a story. So anything that would fall within that. Same thing with like a news story. Anything where you can come up with a full idea and share it, that would fall within the auspices of storytelling. So it doesn't actually have to be a known story. It can be an original story. So again, however you want your students to do that would be fine.
I would also kind of add, I think this year with that type of theme is that we're looking for a lot of quality. It's the art of storytelling. We need a good story, a good crisp beginning that draws us in, a good story through the middle, and whether it be a happy or sad ending, something that really will resonate with us and draw us in, and we'll remember this film for something good or bad, just depending on what the whole story is about. But I think anything that has to do with the art of storytelling, we're looking for a good story, quality. What's a good beginning, middle, and end, just like what we teach our kids. And so that's one thing I'll be looking for is a quality story. What's going to draw me in? What's going to be the climax? What's happening? Am I going to want to watch this film over and over again? I think kind of shows if they're really, really following this particular theme this year. Because like Earl said, it can be anything, truthfully. But I think quality is what we're really looking for, something that's going to draw us in. So I'm hoping that helps. So if we don't have any more questions, Jesus, will you? Let me see. I might have to type for Mr. Jesus. Wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Jesus, if we don't have any more questions, I think we'll be on our way to wrapping this up. We're about 50 minutes into this. I just want to kind of put you in charge now. That way you can kind of guide the rest. And if we need to go ahead and wrap this up, go for it. Thank you very much for everyone for participating. If you do have any more questions, you can go ahead and email me, jdroach@episd.org, or any of your other instructional technology specialists, and they'll be glad to help. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, Jesus, it's all yours.
All right, everyone, don't forget the dates that John was talking to you about. You have the link to the website there, as well as the link to the specific instructional technology specialist that serves your campus. We will be emailing you this recording So if you want to share it later on with your co-teachers, you can definitely do so. And just as John said, if there's no more questions, we're going to go ahead and end. I'm going to stop recording. And I wish everybody a great evening.